when they've got people in their house or on the phone or whatever, they might not join in. But anyway,
it's probably hard.
It's the 1st of March, and Steve and Nancy are dealing with internet, and we sent them some ideas about how to do that. So we'll see if they respond.
Maybe we should Healy their internet.
We should Healy there. I have my internet as a client.
Oh, yeah.
I do.
That's not a bad idea.
I do. Hey, look what Linda's wearing.
Oh, isn't it pretty?
Oh, look at Linda.
Yeah.
That's so pretty.
Everybody got theirs today. I mailed them like 12 days ago, I think, or something.
Wow.
No, I got
Oh,
mine the other day.
yeah.
I just forgot to tell you thank you.
Oh, cool. Well,
In the midst of my hubbub.
Kate, at about 4:30, I saw a message from Kate thanking me for the thing. And then at about 5, I got one from Nancy saying, I just went to the mailbox. And then about 5 minutes after that, I got a message from Linda that said, I just went to the mailbox.
You know, Nancy's stuff sits out in that mailbox for days.
Yeah.
She
And
probably
Linda
got
has
the
a
same
post
day.
office. So
Yeah.
There you go. Today was
I only
just the
go
day.
once every little, sometimes a week, sometimes a little more than a week. Yeah. Because I don't get very much there. So.
Hi, baby.
yeah. All right, let's line up. Just
Oops.
bringing all of our awareness into this now moment. Right, all the stuff in our mind and all the busyness and all the world and all whatever was on our plate today, we just bring it all right here into the center, and we allow it to just drop, like sliding off of us, like off of Teflon. We find ourselves be here now, landing in our hearts, feeling our feet on the ground. Feeling the power of this group, of this container, and we call in Steve and Nancy. Whether they're here physically or not, they're still here with us. And we just zing up the zings for miraculous outcome on their internet. And here we are, and here we begin. Deep breath in. So we have been chit-chatting, but I don't know that we've checked in. So let's do a relatively quick check-in just for time. So I've got some things to talk about today. So
Well,
Linda,
then why don't you start?
because I want to wait and see if Steve and Nancy get here.
Ah, okay.
It's not really a check-in so much as, I mean, maybe, but
Maybe.
I'll start. Because my life is just, it's going really, really well, but there's just so much of it that I'm having a hard time keeping up. And well, but that's my thing, has been for many weeks, years now, about keeping up. And so there's been a lot of ups and downs with my emotions and my point of view about myself, the kinds of things I need to learn. And, you know, it's like so many basic computer stuff, so many basic accounting things that I feel like are really important for me to learn, because I feel way behind where I think I should be. And so I'm giving all that to God, because I know that, you know, we've been working on this for a while, and it is a lot about claiming that I am smart enough to do this. You know, for a long time I thought I wasn't. Now I'm realizing I am. I just didn't have the opportunities. You know, actually I didn't take the opportunities. My priority was traveling and being on my own and doing my own thing, and which I gained a lot of value from, and a lot of spiritual rewards, spiritual perspective, by not getting immersed in what I thought I should be doing. Instead, that rebellion really led me into where I really want to be. So that's what's going on. I'm easily letting go of the judgments and pedaling as fast as I can, you know, that thing, just trying to trying to keep, Kate, you just amaze me at all you do so quickly, and it just, one thing, you just, by the next day, things
Thank
are,
you.
yeah, I just am, that's kind of, I want to absorb some of that stuff. That
I'm trying to let go of some of that. So
not the stuff, the ability to, the energy about creating and completing, the completing part. I seem to be doing well with the creating part. It's the completing part that it's built. Anyway, you get it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, big awarenesses, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the little shifts are the ones that become the profound ones. So good job.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Kate, we missed you. Was that last week you were gone?
thank you. That was last weekend. We got up to come back and the car was coated in ice
Ooh.
and the roads were coated in ice and it was 60 degrees the day before.
Wow.
A big 6-0. And it was a little hazardous getting out of there. So we got a much later start than we had planned. And once we got far enough away, it was really okay, but it was not an easy start at all. And we were exhausted because one full day, like morning till after dinner, we babysat a 5-year-old in a hotel room.
Wow.
And then the next afternoon and evening, they were back. That time, mom came, but it was one of those interesting things where behavior is so different when mom is around, so much worse, So the day really went so much smoother, I think, than any of us would have guessed in that small space. But we were exhausted because so much attention every single minute. So we were kind of a little sharing. So yeah, out came the phone games and anything I could think of. But anyway, it was fun. It was good. But we were really tired. And when we got home, we were so funny because we're like, well, I'm not really tired. And about 2 days later, we could hardly function because it really caught up with us. But, all of the energy around here about Shirley's book has really, really taken over for right now. And what's it Saturday? She said to me, because I tried to put it straight onto Kindle and it didn't format right. I didn't know how to do it. I'd never done it. I don't know what I'm doing. But so you had to format the chapters so they would go back. So the day I got the book done, I wasn't touching that.
Yeah.
So she said to me Saturday, and I was giving myself a little rest. And she said, I'll do anything for you if you'll just work on getting that on Kindle, anything. And I looked at her and she goes, I'd do anything for you anyway. And I'm like, yeah, right. Okay. So I sat down, started working on the Kindle, and it was easier than I thought. It was just getting myself to go do it again. So it only took me 4 or 5 hours to get that on. And so that's done. So, but it's amazing how much of our household energy has gone to that. And like, I have to get my head on really straight because it's so exciting and it's such a wonderful contribution to humanity. And I have to remind myself all the time that everything Shirley says is going to be about the book.
For a while.
Yeah, for a while, and that's fine, but I forget that. So
Yeah.
when she goes, well, I heard from Sally Jones today, I'm like, who?
And about what?
Yeah, and I'm like, oh shit, that no, so I'm trying to get that into my head because it's totally appropriate. I just happen to be sick of the book because I spent so many hours, poring over trying to get it into the program. Yeah. But it's a wonderful, wonderful book and it's wonderful. So, but it has kind of taken over her life at the moment, which is really not a bad thing. It's just something I have to be aware of, really. So let's see. So this is weird. I told you I was having all those things because I was pretty sure I must be dying, and I don't know if I am or not. It could be. But I had a couple dreams about Bill, and and he's the one the story that I put on for you guys last year, the year before, that I'd written for Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Yeah.
I haven't dreamt about him. Gosh, I was in my 20s when he was killed. I probably haven't dreamt about him in 30 years.
Wow.
Or more.
Wow.
I know. I'm like, okay, so like, what's going on? Interesting. But I'm just being an observer. for the most part. And then I spoke with my friend Susan, who lives in New York, and she's a poet from New York. We've been friends for, I don't know, 25 years. And she developed MS shortly, well, somewhere in the middle of our friendship. And then she fell off a toilet and broke her neck. And now she's been in a nursing home for 6 years. And she's totally quadriplegic. She can move her head. And we talk on the phone, you know, and most of her friends, like her local friends, have kind of faded away by now. You know, it gets hard. And then with coronavirus, you couldn't visit her. But I'll tell you, talk about just an interesting view of the world. She is getting worse and worse. Her body's breaking down. Now she has congestive heart failure. The only place she ever goes is when she gets an infection because they weren't able to take care of her well enough, and she ends up in the hospital, and then she's back in the nursing home. And she said to me the other day on the phone, you know, I'd kill myself if I could, because this is no way to live. Nobody should live like this, but I can't even use my hands to like hide pills or something. And then Saturday she called me and she said, I have a fever. I'm just calling to say goodbye because I don't know if this is going to be it. And it's I was listening to the tape from before when we were talking about all is well and it is done. And it is a challenge for me to maintain that in her situation.
Yeah.
You know, it took me years to be okay with that in the Bill situation. Those things that really knock your core, it takes a long time to get to that all is well and it is done place. And I'd love to be there. I wouldn't say that to her because she's going through this. I'd love to have myself there for her when I'm talking to her, and I am not there yet. And usually I can actually, after a while, kind of lift her spirits a little bit because she's got the most delightful sense of humor. So, you know, I listen first and then I kind of poke at her a little bit, and pretty soon she's laughing a little bit. So that's good. But, you know, I don't know. How do we ever understand why things get so crappy sometimes? I was saying to Shirley the other day, you know, remember 2 years ago when I said I never thought I'd be alive during a pandemic? Okay, now I'd like to say, I never thought I'd be alive to see a country attacked and taken over by another country. I never thought, I'm never going to say I never thought I'd be alive for anymore. Because I found myself, your brain, you know, this monkey brain that we have, this is what my brain did because I was so appalled to watch this happening that I'm like, okay, Illinois, the United States, we're kind of in the middle of the country. So if they come in from the outside, they won't get to us first. You know, that's what my brain's doing. I'm like, okay, well, that was really a waste of energy. But it is amazing to watch. I don't want to use the word amazing, but I don't know, we're seeing things that I don't think any of us thought we would ever see. And yet so many have seen them before. I don't know who I thought I was. And I very strongly feel the call to remain centered and peaceful in it all, because I don't know that there's anything else that I can do that can contribute to mankind than that. So.
Right. And remind me your friend's name again.
Susan.
Susan. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, you know, we can do all the work that we do. And when it gets really personal, like Susan, you just kind of have to just be with your humanity.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, you just do. And you let us do the work with Susan, you know, and just this, this came up because you were talking about Susan. You know, Vicki and Teddy, are you still doing the weekday morning?
I haven't been there this week. Are Vicki and Teddy okay?
No, Teddy died.
Oh my God.
I know.
Oh my God.
Like,
oh my God, we love Teddy so much.
I know. And he just, we know what nobody's saying, and they wanted to keep it low because she was so struggling with it. She was like, it was like, I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was like a heart attack or I don't know, but he died. Like he was on in the morning and then he died.
Oh my God.
It was like crazy. And I don't say that.
Are they at Namaste Village or are they somewhere else?
No, they live in Boston or someplace.
Okay, because I didn't think that they were there.
Mm-mm.
But they were on every day, and
Yeah,
jewels. Those were people were jewels.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And that I don't mean to say that in light of you talking about you might be dying or Susan, but also it's like we don't know what this planet. We don't know. You know, it brings us back to every moment is a gift.
Right.
And their big thing, Linda, was their Course in Miracles people, and they shared every single day, 5 days a week with James Twyman's stuff. But their whole thing is pay it no mind, pay it no mind.
Yes.
Mind. You know,
Yes.
find joy, find peace, find grace. Let yourself be distracted by the bird or the snowfall or the ice, or, you know, seriously do everything in your power to stay in your own place of peace and grace.
And how is Vicky?
I don't know, because
Because she hasn't been on.
and now he's traveling. He's on his way to Poland to do
I
a
saw that.
synchronization, global meditation in Poland, because he couldn't get into Ukraine last week. Probably, thank God. But
Wow.
and what he said to me is she's very, very private. And I said, well, I just want to reach out to her because I felt like I had a connection and I really liked you. And he said, well, the best way to do that is to jump on one of the 9 a.m.s. And if she's present, just message her in the chat. I'm like,
Okay.
isn't actually all that helpful, but one day I will do that.
Yeah,
Don't make it totally
wow.
helpful, I'm not sure. But
Wow.
yeah. And
You know,
so,
it's so amazing. We went to those every day for a long time, and we've been a little stressed this week. So that helps me to get back to them.
yeah,
But it was amazing how you got to know some of the folk
yeah.
that were there every morning,
Yeah, yeah,
you know?
yeah. And we couldn't see the Zoom screen. So we don't know who was ever present. Either as the facilitator, because he had the I don't know, but anyway, sitting in the audience, it was the speaker, not, so it was whoever was speaking. So like I couldn't tell every day that you were on, but one day you were front and center, or Shirley was, or something.
We were there every day.
Yeah, but we couldn't tell.
I surely wanted to move to Namaste Village until you told us about how hard it is to walk around there, which will not be happening for us.
Probably not a perfect place, because there was like massive, like Rob's like, oh my God, where are the codes? There are no building codes. There are no safety codes. There are rocks and the cobblestones and the holes in the wall and the oh my God.
I told Shirley that, and she kind of backed down on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Let's put it this way, it's not wheelchair friendly.
Okay.
Not that any of us are in wheelchairs, but if you can't wheelchair it, it's a little more dangerous to walk. It was a lot like Bali in their streets, and that was a mess. So anyway, yeah, so my check-in, I'm good. Life is good. Amy and my daughter Amy and her daughter Jaden came Sunday and left yesterday. And tomorrow I'm gonna spend all day with Amy because Jaden's in this regional choir thing in Little Rock. They live in Kansas City. And the regional choir thing that she had to try out for and she made is in Little Rock this week. So
Oh my gosh.
I know. So they're here, kind of, sort of. And that's
that
really,
picture of the three of you was gorgeous.
yeah.
You could just see how much you resemble each other.
Yeah.
When you're all together there.
Yeah. And she's 12. She'll be 13 this month, Jaden. And she's my first, so she's got that special, oh my God. She is it for me. And all of a sudden I'm 5'4" on a tall day. And she's 5'6.5". She's like towering over me. I said, oh my God, you got so tall. She goes, I know. I said, are you done growing? She goes, no, I can feel it.
Oh,
growing. I know I am. Like, okay.
Wow. So did you have other announcements for us?
Well, what I was going to talk about is I was listening to Marcus again today. And I was sort of multitasking, which I wish I would not do that when Marcus speaks, because then I'm like, wait, what did he say? And I can't go back to it because I didn't have the recording yet. But, you know, we did that global coherence meditation with the coherence program last week. But here's what he was talking about today. He was talking about when we run our Healy, we are healing the world. When
Oh, I
put
like
the
that.
intention into our Healy programs that we are healing the world, we are making a huge and positive impact. And there are now over 100,000 families that have Healys. Marcus's vision that came to him one day was 1 million families within 10 years, which I think is easy. Except the company's doing weird things again, but whatever. But he was talking about when you run your Healy. And I think this is always the case, but with the intention of bringing coherence or peace to the world, what happens is your Healy is quantum entangling with all the other 100,000 Healys across the world. So this web of quantum intention is, I mean, I just really got that today. I'm like, whoa, because I know, and I think it was Nancy last week who said, you know, we're really making a difference. I said, oh my God, I've been saying that for years. So I'm so glad that now you're saying it, because I know it to be true. And then he just like confirmed that. And then the other thing in my global group this morning that I just wanted to share, because it was just, we've been working with the Ukraine, Russia, New Humanity. You know, we've been consciously putting work on that. And what that means is we just line up to see the miraculous outcomes, right? It's not any different language than we've been saying forever. But what was coming up today, what came for me was this feeling of all those, and this was before I listened to Marcus, but the feeling of all of us together, not only this group and not only that group, but all the thousands or millions of groups around the world that are holding for New Humanity, that we are now being connected, right? Like we, all the 5 of us here, we are connected, but now every other, we don't have to know the other groups, that the power of what we are doing and have done is now amplified again because we're all connecting. And so I felt that it was like the grid has been built. It was like we plugged in. It's like lit it up. And then it was raining down like sparkles or diamonds or something over Ukraine and Russia too. And as it was coming through the atmosphere, it was landing on the ground into these brilliant, beautiful, translucent flowers like we've never seen before.
Ooh.
It made me think we saw Robin Williams, what's that? Oh God, I just forgot.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Dreams May Come.
Yes, what dreams may come.
We saw that in a couple months ago, like that. And then what came for me is I just went to this utmost gratitude and empathy and compassion, but gratitude for the people who are doing the on the ground work. You know, the men and the women and the children and the families that have signed up for this moment in humanity to tip the scale, that the bullies will no longer have any power over anybody. And the sovereign and all what I'm seeing on my Facebook, it's all sunflowers and it's all blue and yellow. That's all I'm seeing, like, and it's global. And they were showing some, you know, like in France and I mean, all kinds of countries, and it's globally, and we're saying no more. We are each sovereign beings, and then in the global consciousness this morning, it was like, it was such a sense of it is done and all is well. And it may take, you know, a day, a week, a month, a year, a decade, I don't know, but it is like we've tipped the scale. And then right from that into Marcus, well, it was a whole bunch of other stuff too, but Marcus was a part of that. And I'm like, oh my God, do we know the power of what we do? We don't have any idea the impact that we are making in the world. And so for things like,
Wow.
I know, right? Just like, yeah. But for people like Susan and for, the people that are really super struggling and suffering and that are so immersed in fear, the other thing that came through is we used to want to try to get rid of fear or pivot away from fear, but it was like, I forgot the word, like, oh shoot, I forgot the word, but like infusing the fear with this love and grace and coherence that we know. So for people who are suffering, just hold them in this love, hold them in this grace, hold them this, God dang, job well done, life well lived. We have no idea why, but we know you made a huge impact, positive impact on the world. And then like Kate, you were talking about her and you make her laugh and she makes you laugh because she's hilariously funny. What if that's it? What if it has nothing to do with the disease and the pain and the suffering and all that? And, a lot of places there are ways, to do that medical.
I know.
We'll talk about that another time or not.
If I was there, I would be helping her
right?
with anything I could.
Well, maybe it's a road trip,
Yeah, maybe. New York.
Yeah. It might be a little harder there too, but like, job well done, life well lived. That's what I said to my dad for the, 6 or 8 weeks, a few months before he died. And it totally turned him around. It totally turned him around because he had such fear. And then he began to soften. That might have happened anyway, right? But Susan, Susan, job well done, life well lived. You've done awesome. Like, what an impact she's had on your life. So you begin to unpack it a little bit instead of going, you look at somebody like that and you go, oh, all's well and it's done. Well, that sucked. But you go, wait a minute, what can I see? What brings me back to the peace? What brings me back to the love? And then just enfold, not even send anymore, just expand that love, just embrace, bring her into our circles.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So anyway, those were just a few things that were rambling around in my head this afternoon. So let's run some frequencies. Oh, Nancy texted again. Oh, it's wiring outside and now they're drilling loud. So they're going to be present to what's going on there. So
okay.
Now we need to laugh because I was like, okay. We know, Steve and Nancy, if you watch the recording, that you have been with us for this whole time. I mean, the frequencies. But when we go back to our whole statement, all is well and it is done, as we quantum burst ourselves and the world into miraculous outcomes, right? As we quantum shift ourselves and our world into miraculous outcomes. And then a few weeks ago, we go, well, what if we don't even need that part anymore? And to me, that's like we've been building, and then the tipping point. And it's like, but if we just really hold all those people that are right there in that war zone and feel the pain of it, the fear of it, the terror of it, and yet then look and even hit their president, he's standing right there. He's like, we're not leaving. What was that quote? We don't need a ride. We need ammunition. I thought that was hilarious. It just tickled me. And then he's opened it up, says, anybody who's a veteran who's an ally, come fight with us. I'm like, there's so much different going on here than ever before.
Did you read about his history?
Yeah, and Dancing with the Stars and
no, his grandparents, I think, were all of the family but one was killed in Nazi Germany.
Oh no.
Yeah, and he he is the grandson of a family that was almost wiped out in Nazi Germany. And so from someone who survived and then had him, he comes from that lineage and is carrying that amazing courage and humanity and stand-up ability with him.
And maybe this is what his whole purpose for being.
It may be,
This moment
and
in
maybe
time.
in doing this, he's helping to heal generations of
And-
agony and pain and, you know, all of
And
the
we know,
things.
we know that's true. Because anytime we have a healing or a shift or a change, yeah, it does heal generations, ancestors, lineages.
Yep. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know if I can really quick.
All right. And then
Anyway,
looking for that, you can always post it too.
okay, if I can find it.
Why don't you post that link to your chicken soup story again too, so Linda can see it, because she wasn't.
Okay.
I don't think when you
Mhm.
shared that before.
No,
Were
will
you?
do.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And let's do some frequencies, because I mean, I think this is really powerful to be in conversation about it. And we have this tool. Right. So all is well. It is done. And all is well and it is done. Whether it takes a split second, a moment, a day, a week, a decade, a generation, it is done. All is well. So what do we want to run today?
Are you just going to run it on yours, or do you want us all to run something?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Did you bring your healing, Linda?
Yeah.
Anna. Yeah. So we can all run coherence,
Mhm.
which is what we did in the global thing. And then yeah, let's do that. And then we'll, so let's get that turned on.
Okay.
Kind of, I had intended to grab, oh, maybe I have it. I apologize, I feel a little scattered yet today, so. I'm gonna run coherence on this, and then we're still gonna run some blue dots at the same time.
Okay, I found this. A Jewish Ukrainian family had 4 brothers. 3 were murdered by the Nazis. Only 1 survived. His grandson is President Zelensky.
Wow.
Wow. So yeah, I mean, what I just get so clearly is, yeah, he's up for this task, and so is his family because of that.
Mhm.
And he seems to do it with such peace and strength and grace.
Yeah. I think part of that is knowing it's his to do.
Yes, that's what I thought too.
Yeah. One of the gals who's in my group she's really into unicorns, and she was this and that, and unicorns this and this and this. All of a sudden I heard unicorns, Ukraine, then somebody else who's very into astrology was talking about Uranus, and there's a big kind of cross to Uranus, unicorns, and Ukraine are all lining up for this sort of not like a nuclear bomb or atomic bomb on the outer, but in consciousness, in this, like this.
Wow.
Woohoo.
I know. See, it was.
I'm trying to find coherence on here.
It's in
It's
my
under
energetic support.
support.
It's in what? Support, energetic
It's
support?
under support, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Come on. I've been running inflammation all day. Okay.
Do you notice a difference yet with it?
Actually, I did. And so I was like, wow, and it's not even supposed to use the coil, and it worked. How about that?
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I got it.
it doesn't take the coil out. It just doesn't activate the
Okay.
mechanisms of the coil.
Mhm.
Okay, coherence on?
Yep.
Okay, so let's just take a minute and feel that coherence running. We'll take just a couple of minutes. I'll just sort of randomly time it, and then we'll go run some blue dot too,
Okay.
right? So all is well, it is done. Envision as we come together that Susan finds peace, that we are all living our full intentions, that Steve and Nancy have their internet issues resolved, that we are in a place of absolute knowing that all is well and it is done, that we have quantum shifted, quantum leaped into miraculous outcomes. We still don't know what miraculous outcomes looks like. But as we join in coherence together and we let that quantum entanglement start, just feel the energies for a couple of moments here. Just notice what you've noticed so far, energetics or experience or journey or whatever. And now feel the three of us, but also the five of us connected, each running our own coherence. Just feel the power of the quantum entanglement for another couple minutes. And now feel the quantum entanglement of every person across the globe who is either running Coherence program or has the intention of coherence for our world. Just feel the quantum entanglement on a global scale for another couple of minutes. Now bring your attention to Ukraine, Russia. Don't go to thought, just bring your attention there and feel and call forth the coherence, the harmony, the resolution, the gifts, the world change, the pivot. Just like imagine it. If you want to go in the future, if that's easier, that's fine, but just feel it. See what you see, feel what you feel. All is well and it is done. Peace is presence, restored, whatever else comes. Those energies, those frequencies are continuing to run. But as we unfold not only Ukraine and Russia, but we just feel that encircling our entire planet. Feeling the new. Touching every single person, those who are hurting, those who are suffering, anybody in your mind or your heart. Will include Susan. Anybody else? We just bring this global field of energy right down to the individual, just enfolding them, not changing them, just enfolding them. Such love. And we each see each other. So let us all see Steve. Enfolded, enveloped, embodied in this energy. And we see Nancy. And we see Linda. And we see Kate. And we see me. And we see our collective. And even as we feel the energies continuing to move, the frequencies being fed into our systems, we just take a breath. When you're ready, open your eyes. I didn't feel like we needed any blue added, but what's that for you? What can you share?
Okay, I'll go first. About it, it's just an overwhelming sense of gratitude. I don't know if you've heard this story before, but one of the things that I've recently, within the past few years, come around to is it's hard for me to even talk. I have so much energy moving, and it's gratitude, just really gratitude. Anyway, it's just I'm thinking about when I was little. I wanted to. Everybody knew when I grew up I wanted to be an artist, and there's a big story in my family about, you know, they used to hide our birthday presents and we had to go find them, you know. And on one birthday I hunted and found some, but you know, they kept saying there's one more, and I couldn't find it. And then finally there was a box on our stairs, and it was a long thin box, and as soon as I opened it, I opened one end of it and I saw all these long things of just wood, and I said, oh, it's my easel. And my mom just laughed and she said, how did you know? It's not even out of the box yet. But I had known that I wanted an easel, and there was an easel. And so it's a big thing. Linda wanted to be an artist when she grew up. And many things happened where I ended up deciding to travel around and move, and I never felt like I wanted to carry a lot of things around with me. So I never went that way, and or always had excuses. But recently I came around to realizing that, when I started learning about Abraham and the law of attraction, and one of the things is about creating our world. And I said, well, that's it. I came to create. It's not about being an artist, you know, like creating. It's about creating. And I'm here on this planet now to create my life and create this love that I'm experienced inside in this world. And this is my contribution. And then I, found you guys. So, and that was part of it. I was coming out of spending 25 years with another spiritual group, which has anchored me with a lot of, in fact, one of the things I just saw recently, they're talking about, we had a trip in '88 to Russia, and the people that I know were talking about being there and meeting people, and how they even had committees all over the country that was about creating peace, holding for peace. And that they, and the one that they visited, the people that were the coordinator of the group, or the primary persons of the group, were generals and had been in World War II, and they were holding for the peace.
Wow.
And so it was like they were all these friends of mine were remembering meeting these people, and we're talking about them, and so all holding that. And on that trip, they also went to Germany, and one of the things that they were planting light columns wherever they went. And one of the things they did was, JR, the teacher, did this meditation about planting a light worm in the Berlin Wall, and just watched it all eat the wall away. All these worms eat the wall away. And 2 years later, it came down.
Wow.
So it is, I've known that I'm part of this group working toward doing this. And I just feel, I can't even explain the power I feel knowing that I'm part of doing this with everybody, with you guys helping me. Yay.
Wow.
That was quite a bit of coherence there.
Yes, no kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah. You, Kate?
I don't, what's the word? I felt coherent, I guess. I could just kind of feel that I was a part of the molecules of everything,
Mm.
and like not any separate molecules. They were just like all the molecules. And then when you said to visualize the Ukraine and Russia, there was just this. At first, I think I saw it kind of like the maps that you see in Russia was like kind of red colored, and I don't know what color Ukraine was. But then I kind of saw Ukraine turn into like a yellow and blue color, kind of like the flags that we see in, like with little sunflowers and stuff. And just little by little by little, it was just like inch by inch growing into Russia.
Mm.
And so Russia, the Russian land that had been red and kind of dark in the original, was kind of just gently, slowly, very slowly, but like lighting up, and just, it was so slow, but like the borders were disappearing, and little by little it was like almost like bleeding over into Russia. But it was like just so hopeful, and there was like no violence about it, and no like bombs or anything. It was just this very gentle movement. And that was just, I would just sat and watched it, and just watch. I'm like, wow. It's like when you're waiting for a pot to boil or something, you can stare at it forever. And then all of a sudden you see like the little bubble, and it was kind of like that. It's like, wait, it did move. Oh, it's a little further. And it was kind of gorgeous to watch.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about, I listened to a talk that Micah had done the other day that he sent me. He's a friend of mine. And he was talking about Malcolm X and the different people back when all of the things were happening at once in this country at one time for civil rights. And he said, I don't know who he said it, but he said, for a time, people like me hate to see the violence. I hate to see the violence. I'm like, why can't we do this without violence? Why does all this violence have to happen? But he said, somebody had to kick down the door, or we never would have got through it. And they were thanking the groups that had the power to kick down the dang door,
Mm-hmm.
so that people could flood through. So I was just, I don't know, I'm so taken with, I don't know anybody right now who lives in the Ukrainian countries, but I do have a friend that's an artist in Bosnia, and she talks sometimes about how it was before the war and after the war there. It's just so many things. And I look at all these people, the pictures you see of people walking, trying to walk to the border, and they're carrying their cats.
Mhm.
You know, they're not carrying their gold. They're carrying their cats. They're carrying their, this one guy had a cat in one carrier and a fish in a bowl and a big rifle around his shoulder. And he was walking towards the border. And I thought, you know, the gentleness of humanity that's so carefully carrying their cats. And at the same time, the intelligence to change the electronic street sign so the Russians can't find their way around now
Right.
because they don't have the right message. That's like intelligent fighting, you know.
Yeah.
And there are people, you and me and our neighbors are out with Molotov, those little cocktails, Molotov cocktail. Who would have thought? And yet they seem to be doing it with a little bit of peace
Mhm.
and a little bit of wholeness and a little bit of faith. And it just, there's such a gentleness about that. It's like they're kicking down the door maybe to the whole new humanity,
Right.
Mhm.
and they're doing it with humanity.
Yeah.
And that's what I see. And that's how I felt, that just gentle bleed over into the red. It was like, no, it's moving into it. Look at it go.
Mhm.
That's what I felt. So thank you.
Mhm.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
Beautiful. And I felt, I could feel each time I said, you know, take it bigger, just just the power, but super gentle. I
Mhm.
focus, Kate, on gentle because it was really gentle, but it is just like, I think probably if I had a word, it would just be hope. Like, like it is done, all is well and it is done, but also this hope for humanity. And that comes because of what we're seeing in humanity. We're seeing all the Russians standing up. We're seeing, I love the street signs being changed. You know,
I know, I love that so much.
there were a few things like that. And there was a story about Rob was showing me a little video clip about the Russians coming up against some Ukrainian soldiers and saying, you need to, you know, surrender or whatever. And they were like, F you, we're not doing that. You know, just like, so that mass collective fear, chaos, even though I'm not saying that there's not chaos there, there's plenty of it,
There is.
but there's also something else that's different.
And just the fact that they didn't cave immediately,
Immediately. Yep.
knowing what they were facing
Yep.
Mhm.
is such a strong sense of hope.
And it's miraculous.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Really.
And that they have the leader that they have right now,
Right.
you know?
Moment in this time.
Yeah. And when I look at it, like, this is all, when I remember to look at things like this as a part of the greater unfolding, which I may have no way of understanding, of course, but realize that everything serves towards a part of the greater unfolding, then I don't carry as much baggage with it,
Right.
you know?
Right. Right. Because we're in an evolution.
Mhm.
We're in an evolution of humanity. And so, yeah, well, you come back out and see from a bigger perspective.
And that is loud and clear if you look at the last, I mean, it's so obvious if you look at the last few years.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's just do one more. Just zing up, you know, just lining up with all the people who know we are in new humanity and lining up for as much ease and grace in this transcending as possible, knowing that still some people have to knock down the doors. Right? Some people are going to sacrifice their lives for this, but in that big picture, we call it forth. And then we allow that big picture to encircle the globe. And then we allow that big picture to just rain down on us, to impact all the little things we're dealing with, whatever. And go, oh, wait a minute. There's a bigger picture happening here. And we're part of it. And then just come to that gratitude that's for all that is, for this moment, for this group, for each of you. And for the work we do. So it is. We give big hugs to Steve and Nancy if they watch the recording. Really good about watching recordings. I'm not sure Steve and Nancy are, but we'll see.
Well, we know they were here anyway, so.
We know they were here anyways. So. All right. Love you guys.
Linda, that's a great color scarf on you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's full of blessings. Yeah.
Yay.
How's the pink one work on you, Kate?
I haven't put it on yet.
Okay.
It's still in its envelope.
Okay. Well, next week.
We will get it out once we get our
Okay.
feet back under ourselves.
Oh yeah, well, there's that.
There is that. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Have a great night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Night.